Gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of Dark Powerrr. We have a little bit shorter of an episode of Dark to cover this week, which is kind of nice because last week we had one episode that was an hour and 40 minutes long, another episode that was an hour long, and previous weeks we've been having hour and 20 minutes, hour 30 minutes, hour 40 minutes of Dark, and there's no real break in between any of these matches, so it's just action-packed stuff after action-packed match. These are running without commercial breaks, so it's as if we were watching multiple hours every week of Dark. And I gotta say, despite the fact that these are going to be shorter matches, this episode's only about, I think, 47 minutes long when it comes to Dark. You know how I ramble on these topics, and I appreciate you guys sticking with us every time, being my faithful listeners, my faithful watchers, and because I'm going to be rambling, that will give you plenty of time to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this on your social media, and of course, as we go through the matches, comment on things that you observed, comment on what you think about my takes on these things. We all grow together. We all watch this amazing thing that we call wrestling together. So let's just get started. Let's jump straight into it. So, like I said, shorter matches this week on Dark, 7 matches or so. We're starting off hot with Will Hobbs versus Sean Legacy. Hobbs is kind of being a breakout star in the sense that he had a great showing in the Casino Battle Royale, and now he seems to be somebody who's breaking out of the mold of just quote-unquote enhancement talent on Dark. He's picking up a win over Sean Legacy. Big match for Hobbs, a big win for Hobbs, great way to start out Dark, and despite the fact that this match is short, there's a little bit enough of meat and potatoes on here to say that Hobbs is somebody special, and if I'm assuming they've signed him if they gave him that big spot in the Battle Royale and now this win. If they haven't already, I'm sure that they will in the next coming weeks. Moving onwards, we have Brian Cage versus Tony Donati. I gotta say, this match was quick. It was, I think, just a little over 3 minutes long. But what was great about this match was the finisher that Cage used was, I don't know how to describe it. It was like not a flatliner, but like he was holding him, and it was whatever the actual name is. And to that point, Excalibur and Taz were unable to actually name the move, if I remember correctly. But whatever the move is called, it looks amazing. It looks like it just knocks somebody out. So, and Tony Donati, you got to have somebody who's going to be able to sell the move properly, right? So kudos to Tony Donati for being able to take that move properly and give it the look that it was supposed to get. After this, we have Angelico of the Hybrid 2 versus Griff Garrison. Good match, quick match as well, but a great showcase of style for Angelico. Great way for Griff Garrison to demonstrate his ability to make people look good while also looking good himself. Another amazing chance to listen to the Hybrid 2 theme song. If you don't have the AEW theme playlist on Spotify or other DSPs saved, whichever one you are on, whether it's Tidal or Apple Music, I'm sure they're on all of them. I have Spotify, so that's why I know. But the Hybrid 2 coming out with that amazing theme song, and Angelico coming out with an amazing win. And just getting wins, that's always important. And I want to see what happens with Hybrid 2 moving forward with tag team matches. But speaking of somebody that I'm highly interested in when it comes to seeing how they develop, we have Anna Jay picking up a win over Skyler Moore. Now, this is another match with a little bit of meat and potatoes because Anna Jay is a growing talent within the AEW women's division and the AEW roster in general. And she's able to demonstrate that here in this match. She does have a ring awareness that I think is a little underrated. She knows where she is within the ring at different points in time. She always can pick out a camera to pay attention to. They talk about this actually during the match. I think with her age, she's only 22, she's going to have a good future in AEW. And I like that she's one of the Dark Order members that stack and wins, right? Stack and wins. Maybe she will get a shot at Hikaru Shida down the road. Potentially, let's see what happens also with Tay Conti. Tay did not win against Nyla Rose, despite having signed the contract and everything, but she also has an offer on the table to join the Dark Order and pair up with Anna Jay. Will there be something there that pairing permanently that we saw during the Deadly Draw tournament. After this, we had what was, for a few more minutes, my match of the night, which is Eddie Kingston versus Lee Johnson. Lee Johnson selling great for Eddie. Eddie being that consummate veteran, just an incredible presence in the ring. Eddie Kingston is somebody who knows his character flawlessly, because he kind of basically is his character. Like, his real life persona and his real life person and his wrestling character, they seem to be just one gelled together person, and that's really great. Just from little moments of Lee Johnson bouncing off the ropes to try to do a shoulder hit, and Kingston taking it and just standing there and being like, go, do it again, do it again, do it again, and Lee Johnson having to bounce off the ropes and come back with that delayed T-bone suplex right after that, and then looking over at him like, yo, that hurt, didn't it, that hurt, and just going on him and stopping. Just that viciousness, that level of presence that, you know, I'm going to toy with you, not because I dislike you. It's just because I can. Because I know who I am. I am Eddie Kingston, and I am going to win this match. Just phenomenal work from Mr. Kingston. And of course, it takes two to tango, like we said earlier, with Donati and Cage. Lee Johnson, amazing talent, as always. I hope he is somebody also that they are able to sign, maybe with that third hour that they're going to be getting from TNT. If it's not going to be Dark, which I think is some of the news reports that we're getting, maybe it'll be something else, and we'll be able to have maybe a kind of a developmental system or league of sorts within AEW. After this, we have Sunny Kiss versus Serpentico. Quick match here, just kind of getting to our main event. Sunny Kiss picking up the win. Our main event, which became my match of the night, is Ricky Starks versus the debuting Benjamin Carter. Phenomenal work. And actually, Benjamin Carter, who was making his AEW debut, is somebody that you will be able to see this Saturday if you are watching the Stadium Series by Warrior Wrestling that we are working with hand in hand. We were part of the Friday Night Lights. We are now part of the Stadium Series. And I think, if I remember, if you guys from last week when I was on True Heels, the main podcast, the main show, Sid was saying that we will have Steve Tortorello this week. So look forward to seeing what Steve says on the podcast to talk about Warrior Wrestling. I'm wearing my freelance shirt for a number of reasons, because there are some freelance talents that are on the Warrior Wrestling card. Looking forward to that. And as you can see with this match, this main event, if this is what Benjamin Carter is able to do, if this is your first time seeing this, like witnessing this, Benjamin Carter is a talent. It was my first time seeing Benjamin Carter as well, and if anything, it got me more interested in the Warrior Wrestling show. So I highly encourage you guys to check out the main event and to check out the Warrior Wrestling show on Saturday if you have time. It'll be on Fight TV. But we got to move on, and moving on, we're going to be talking about Impact and one of those aforementioned freelance talents. So starting off Impact, we have Eric Young coming out to talk about all the dastardly things that he did and who he is as our new Impact World Champion. He is celebrating his win. He basically says, I made these promises, and this is, I delivered. World-class maniac I may be, but I deliver on my promises. And Alicia Edwards comes out to kind of confront him because Eddie is selling the overall effects of the match, and her husband, his wife, his wife is now out here to confront Eric Young, and Eric Young looks as though he's going to put hands on Alicia Edwards. Well, that does not sit well with Edwards' family friend, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer comes out to provide backup for Mrs. Edwards, and he says, you tried to end Rich Swann's career, you tried to end Eddie Edwards' career. Why don't you just put me in the ground, right? Everybody's tried to put me in the ground. Put me in the ground. Put me out of my misery. And Eric Young says, if that's what you want, man, we can do that. We can. And Tommy says, let's do it tonight. Pick whatever stipulation you want. Let's do it tonight. After this, we see Moose getting on a plane. We're not 100% sure where he's going. He's saying that last week he said he knows where he has to go to try to get information about EC3. We'll see what happens with that. After this, we have a backstage vignette. It's not really a vignette, more just a backstage segment of Taiya, Rosemary, and Johnny Bravo. They're planning the wedding. It already seems as though there are some problems here, with Taiya Valkyrie being a little bit more concerned about making the wedding exactly how she would want it, and not how the bride-to-be would want it. And Rosemary seems to be going along with it for the most part because, I mean, she's trying to keep the peace, I guess. Oh, and of course, Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo just in the middle, as usual. Quite literally in the middle of the camera with both women on either side of him. Good camera work in that sense, like just driving home that concept that Bravo works for/with Taiya Valkyrie, but he is romantically engaged to or engaged with Rosemary, and how does he juggle both of these two things? Who knows? God only knows, right? After this, we have a really good match between TJP and Chris Bay. So last week we talked about how TJP wanted a title shot against X Division champion Rohit Raju, and Raju said, hey, look, if you can beat Chris Bay, I mean, then Chris Bay doesn't deserve his rematch. So if you can beat him, then let's maybe we can talk to management and get you that Impact X Division title shot. So TJP talked to Impact Management, and here we are. Good match, athletic match. Rohit came down to ringside to kind of just egg both competitors on, which I thought was a nice touch, considering that is kind of the character that Rohit Raju is now portraying. This is a little bit of a manipulator, but like kind of he lucks into manipulating people, I guess is a way to look at it, though he would probably disagree and say this was all part of the plan. Either way, TJP picks up the win over Chris Bay. I see what doesn't make sense to me here is, for Rohit Raju, I don't necessarily understand why he dislikes Chris Bay to the point that he doesn't want to face Chris Bay. If it's me, I mean, I don't want to face either guy, right? Because I just want to make sure I hold on to my title. But I'd probably not want to face TJP over Chris Bay. TJP is at least portrayed to be far more athletic, and on top of that, TJP will always have Fallah Bahh. So I don't want to run into that obstacle. Whereas Chris Bay, I mean, yeah, it's a Tuesday, so he should be winning. But, and then when I have a title match, it'll also be a Tuesday, unless it's a Sunday. But either way, Chris Bay doesn't have backup. So it's easier to work around Chris Bay than it is to work around TJP. Also, TJP's been insulting to Rohit Raju as well. Everybody's been insulting to Rohit Raju on the roster. Why is Rohit, trying to block Chris Bay from getting a title shot as opposed to TJP? Let's see what the plan is. Let's see where we go. After this, we have a locker room talk segment with Susie and Kylie Ray, Smiley Kylie, who will be not just the freelance world champion after this Saturday, but I predict the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion when she beats Tessa Blanchard in the main event of the Warrior Wrestling Stadium Series. But we're digressing. Right now we're talking about the fact that she is the number one contender to the Knockouts Championship. And after a little bit of kind of heelish setup from Madison Rayne, we see a confrontation from Susie and Kylie Ray by Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo. Kimberly, who will also be on that Warrior Wrestling card. It's a stacked card, very stacked card. But we have a confrontation between champion and number one contender. Where is this going to go? Well, after some back and forth, it looks as though there's going to be a tag match maybe next week. This is a storyline we are going to be paying attention to because it is developing and building, and there's so many incredible people involved in this storyline. Jordynne Grace is not out of the storyline yet. Tenille Dashwood might be coming into this storyline. We don't know. We're going to have a segment a little bit later when it comes to Jordynne Grace and Tenille Dashwood, but either way, this is just, there's a lot of moving pieces here, a lot of things to focus on. So let's see how they flesh the storyline out. What's going to happen in this tag match? What's going to happen between Deonna and Kylie just overall? How is this going to happen? Because we may not want Deonna to drop the belt so quickly because she only just recently became champion at Slammiversary. But at the same time, Kylie Ray, it's harder and harder to deny Smiley Kylie. Are we right? I think we're right. So it's interesting to see, and I don't know where they're going to go with it. Either way works, whether it's Kylie, whether it's Deanna. Let's see. So that's got my attention next week to see where they go with it and how they continue to build this storyline. After this, another wedding planning segment, but here we have Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan talking to Johnny Bravo about how he needs to be a man, stand up for himself. A little bit of a comedy bit. It was good. After this, we have a promo segment from Brian Myers. He is requesting that Willie Mack come down to the ring and shake his hand so that Mack can demonstrate that he is as professional as Brian Myers. Mack comes down and says, I'm not shaking your hand, but what I will do is tell you that I spoke to management and we have a match together, and it's happening right now. And Brian Myers is like, well, I'm not dressed. I'm not dressed. I'm not stretched. That's not professional at all. And regardless, Myers is being put into a match against Willie Mack. Very horrible for Brian Myers. I protest this mistreatment of the most professional wrestler in the world. However, because he is so professional, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he is unprepared. It doesn't matter that he is not dressed, hasn't stretched, because you're always prepared when you're professional, no matter what your attire. It's a mindset of being professional. And even if you're not stretched, you know that you have the training to pull off a win. And that's exactly what Brian Myers does when he picks up a win over Willie Mack, doing his get back from before. After this, we have Jordan Grace talking backstage. She wants to know where the hell Tenille Dashwood has been. They go to find Tenille Dashwood. She is not there, but her photographer, played by Caleb Conley with a K now instead of a C, tells us that Tenille Dashwood will be back next week. And I gotta admit, it's a little hard for me to keep saying Tenille Dashwood instead of Emma, even though I know she has not been in WWE for quite some time. After this, we go back to the wedding planning bit, and now it's Taiya Valkyrie confronting Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan for what they said were saying to Johnny Bravo. And not looking good for Tasha Steelz, because Taya's on her. And Taya's saying, you must not know who I am, the longest reigning Impact Knockouts champion of all time. But I can teach you. Tonight, I'll face you, one-on-one, the two of us. After this, we have our amazing Tag Team Championship match. If the TJP Chris Bay match was good, this match is kind of even better. If it's hard to believe, despite, we have an amazing tag team on one side, Motor City Machine Gun, an amazing tag team on the other side in the form of the Rascals. It's just, you got it on paper, it should be amazing, just as their Slammiversary match was. And here, Rascals are unable to pick up the win. Strong storytelling in this match, with Motor City Machine Gun working on injured legs, injured body parts, submissions, just keeping them trying to find a way to keep the Rascals grounded, right? That's what you got to do when you face the Rascals. Maybe that's what the Rascals will face when they're in their six-man tag match at Warrior Wrestling's show. Who knows? But this week, on Impact, they definitely were grounded when Motor City Machine Gun picks up the win, defending the titles. After this, Ace and Madman Fulton and the North come out to attack both teams. It's going quite well for the North and Madman Fulton, Ace Austin, to the point that the two teams look like they're going to fight each other, and then Ethan Page comes to the realization and says to both guys, hey, we can each beat up on a guy. It's fine. And the two teams say, all right, yeah, let's do that instead. And who comes out to make the save but the Good Brothers? And this is a little weird for me because we kind of see where this is headed, right? Even if the North get their tag titles back, we know that they're going to be losing them relatively soon to the Good Brothers. Or even if the North are unable to get their tag titles back, we know that Motor City Machine Gun will be losing them to the Good Brothers. And the Rascals have yet to get a tag team title run, if I recall correctly. And that just seems, wrong, like a waste. You have them on contract. They could be doing amazing, phenomenal matches, but instead you're, not holding them down, but it's just not holding them down. It's keeping them from shining or stopping the shine. That's a better way to look at it, because I don't think that management is doing it intentionally. I think they see other teams out there and they're like, well, those teams, like they're going to drive ratings more or whatever the case may be. But sometimes just putting on good matches gets you ratings. Like, I want to see the Rascals defending the tag titles. That's something that I'm interested in. If the Rascals had beaten the North, that would have been great for the Rascals too. I don't know. It's the tag team division in Impact is a bit of a complicated mess, but I really hope that the Rascals can get back on track, and that sooner rather than later the tag titles find their way to the Treehouse, where they can be up on the wall as the Rascals celebrate, as only they can, their tag title win. Speaking of somebody who celebrates things the way that the Rascals do, after this, RVD and Katie Forbes, that was a good segue. That was, if you know, you know. They have the whole. They announce that husband. Are they married or are they just together? Either way, boyfriend, girlfriend, couple, husband and wife, however you want to call it. Katie Forbes and RVD announced that starting next week, they will have their own segment called The Whole Effing Talk Show. Makes sense. And after this, we get a good vignette from Sami Callihan talking about how, hey, the numbers are the problem. I beat RVD, but then Katie Forbes. Will he interfere with the whole effing talk show? He says he won't, but time will tell. I think he will. I think he'll have a little something to do, a little something to say, a little way to put his fingers in there, because he's always got his eye on them, right? After this, we have our match between Taiya, Valkyrie, Tasha Steelz with Kiera Hogan ringside. Strong match. Taiya Valkyrie picks up the win as she should. I think after this, there's some jaw-jacking with Taiya and Kiera Hogan. I think next week we'll be getting Kiera Hogan versus Taiya, which seems to be kind of from since I've taken over Impact, it seems to be kind of the recurring thing with Hogan and Steelz, is that somebody faces one week, then they face the other one the next week, and they have like a tag match or something like that, because that's what happened with Havoc and Nevaeh. After this, Moose, in a good segment, reaches his coach's office from his college days, and he's trying to see whether or not his coach has seen EC3. The coach says no, but then says, remember, something I always taught you and told you, control your narrative. And Moose isn't sure what to make of this. It's a bit of a weird ending to the segment, but I thought it was kind of cool. Just the idea that Moose is looking for EC3, but EC3 is many, many steps ahead of Moose, and he knows what he is doing, and he has the ability to just control, not just the narrative, but control everything around Moose. I like it because Moose is a heel who is being put into a face position by somebody who is somehow more heelish than Moose. It's an interesting story that they're telling. I find it quite entertaining, and I like it. If you do, let us know. The EC3 thing is something that Impact is definitely pushing, so I kind of want to see how they up the ante. Like, that's the question. How are they going to up the ante until these two guys finally lock horns in the ring? That's something that I want to see, because they continually find a way to increase the suspense, increase the thrill ride of it all, and so I want to see next week. I'm already interested. How are they gonna build upon this? After this, there is a segment with Rhino and Heath Slater. Heath is saying that he needs more money to run the Heath for Impact ads. Rhino says that he knows a way that he can get them money so that they can do that. Probably has to do with the wad of cash that Hernandez is walking around with, if I had to guess. After this, Eric Young defeats Tommy Dreamer in a pretty good match. I will say. But really, the story here is not EY beating Tommy Dreamer. It's Rich Swann coming out after the match when EY is continuing to beat up on Tommy Dreamer. Rich Swann makes the save. You would have thought that it would be Eddie Edwards, but that's what I thought. I thought Eddie was gonna come out, and that I was gonna talk about how I was confused that Eddie Edwards came out to make the save for Tommy Dreamer and not his wife, but I think Impact was like, no, yeah, that would not make sense. So we're gonna give away the fact that Rich Swann is backstage for whatever reason. I mean, he's on crutches, but to me, if you announced your retirement some weeks ago, after like I think it was a week after Slammiversary, and you're retired, why would you still be backstage? I don't know. Seems weird. Maybe he was just there for the weekend to when he was just there. This because remember, like they are taping these episodes, but they are presenting these episodes as though they are real time live things. And so, if why is Rich Swann there? Like just on a Tuesday night in the Impact Zone in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Why is he still there? He should have gone home because he's retired. But anyway, either way, Rich Swann comes out, makes the save. Good moment there. Rich kind of is indicating that he wants to find a way to get vengeance on Eric Young for what Eric Young did. Eric Young is like, you should not be here. Like, you retired. Case in point, the heel bringing up logic in this situation. But either way, strong ending to Impact. I think we will be getting Rich Swann, Eric Young at Bound for Glory now. I think they should save it and put it at Hard to Kill because that pay-per-view name just fits better. But, I mean, if you want to have the crowning moment for Rich Swann is that it's at Bound for Glory, then, you know, I can understand that, and I'm perfectly okay with that. But either way, we'll see how they get us to Bound for Glory, and I will be with you guys every step of the way, as we will be when we talk about AEW Dark. I think next week is when NWA comes back. I got to talk to Sid, see if I'll be covering that. I'm pretty sure I will be covering that. But either way, because it's going to be on Tuesdays. But going forward, yeah, we might be back to a threefer, as we were for a very short amount of time before Carneyland had to pause. But we will be talking potentially about Dark, the NWA Weekly Pay-Per-View Series, and Impact Wrestling. So, guys, buckle in. We are getting bigger. We are getting larger. We are going to be encompassing more wrestling, and hopefully we'll be having a larger audience, a bigger family that will be a part of our Dark Powerrr family, a subset of the True Heel Heat family, as we discuss all the wrestling that's coming on Tuesdays. So until then, guys, I'll catch you. Stay safe. But keep wearing your masks, keep washing your hands, keep taking care of yourselves and your loved ones. And until next time, check out the Warrior Wrestling Show, and I'll see you guys later.